Wait, can you even see the yolk?
No, that's not. I was just thinking that. I was like, okay, empty. Full. Oh my god!
Whoa!
Wow, Jesus. Okay.
Brain blast. Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we have a God talk for you, and we're going to be talking about, it's honestly kind of going to be like a story time. We're going to be getting a little, personal or whatever. Just talking about what our experience has been with being spiritually yoked in relationships, romantic relationships mostly. And we're just going to give you guys some, background on where we're coming from and what we feel what being spiritually yoked is and how important is it. Is it relevant? Do you need to be spiritually yoked? And all those types of things. So stay tuned.
So I'm engaged, and everybody basically knows who I'm engaged to, Justin. So my story time and talking about being spiritually yoked and equally yoked in that aspect is obviously going to be with him, because that is who I'm going to marry. Justin, I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but he was not born into the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He was born into a church. He did go to church all of his life, but he wasn't born into the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I was, so I grew up Seventh-day Adventist and spiritually minded because my parents brought me up that way. So it wasn't something I really had to maneuver around this world and find the truth on my own, because that's just what I've always known. As opposed to Justin, who found it on his own and studied the Word and really dug deep into what it meant to be Seventh-day Adventist and what that meant spiritually for him, and decided to convert his life. So I guess that's just the difference between us right there. So in terms of being equally and spiritually yoked in that way, I would say that there is initial struggle. First of all, it does exist, okay? Just from this picture that I've kind of drawn, I would say that Justin and I initially are maybe not equally yoked in a spiritual sense. He is very much a peer in his spiritual life, and I will admit, and I will put myself out there, that my spiritual life is a journey, and it is still a journey that I'm navigating, and I am praying for God to draw nearer and nearer to me every day. So it's still something that I'm working on, and I'm sure it's still something that he's working on, but some of us may be more advanced in our spiritual lives than others. And there's a lot of ways in which that is really important to me and how I view our relationship. One, sometimes, just if you're in a relationship where a person is more spiritually minded than you are, it can be intimidating for the person who can be considered lesser than. A lot of times Justin will actually speak to your life. That is a gift that God has given him. He will really he will read you, he will really spiritually speak to you for you just to be convicted. And that's just how he is. And that's a spiritual gift that God has given him. And and he prays with conviction. He writes sermons and preaches them with conviction, and just does all of these things that I don't do. Those aren't my spiritual gifts. And I just don't feel that that is where I am to be doing those things spiritually right now. So just seeing him do, all of that and hearing him speak to multiple people, her and I included, sometimes it makes me feel a little inferior, a little insecure about how we are spiritually yoked. And this is something that we discuss. So it's important, if you are in a relationship where it is like that, to have dialogue, to not just let this person, it may be all in your head, but not just to let this person seem supreme, to you, because in a relationship you are one, right? We plan to become one, right? So we're on this walk together, you know, so how can he help me? And how can I still help him? You know, I can't always see myself as the inferior mate in this relationship, you know what I mean? Because he's with me for a reason, right? So like, how can I add to his spirituality as well as how can he add to my spirituality? There is such a thing as, you know, being unequally yoked spiritually, and it is very important. But as I mentioned, like, dialogue is key, and being open and honest about it. Like, yes, this is a thing, but how can I help you so that we can progress spiritually together and our relationship can be successful?
My experience was completely, or has been completely different from Azzy's, in that in the relationships that I've been in the past, I felt like I was the one who was more, I guess, spiritually minded, and I felt like I made it a bigger priority than my partners did, and over time that led to just some, like, not really issues in our relationship where we were like fighting about it or but there came a point where, like, you know, you're getting to know somebody, you're spending time with them, and you start dating them, and then you start like entering into a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend, and there comes a certain point where you want to go deeper with them and not just be like, oh, you know, I like you, you like me, let's talk every day, let's hang out, let's go on dates, let's, you know, even let our families hang out together and stuff. There comes a point where, like, you are going through it, like whether it's school, work, family, whatever, you're going through a rough time, and you want that person to be able to be like, you know what, Kristen, you're gonna get through this, and we'll get through it together. Let's pray about it, you know, let's like seek guidance from God, and you know, you want that person to be, I don't know, just like with you, not only physically, emotionally, and mentally, but also spiritually. Beyond that, I was just looking for what I was giving, and I wasn't getting it. And it's not, again, like I said, it's not like we were arguing about it in our relationship, like, oh, you know, you don't pray enough, or like, you don't talk to me about God. It was just something that I started to notice, and when I would voice the concern, like, my past relationships, they were completely understanding. They were like, yeah, Kristen, you know, we can do that more, but it was just like, there was no follow through. And it just helped me to realize, not that they're bad people or like they're not good Christians or whatever. It's just that for me at that stage of my life and them at that stage in their life, I was more, that was more important to me than it was to them, because I made it a priority and I thought about it constantly. And so the whole idea of being like spiritually yoked is really, really important to me, especially since like my last, I've been in two, I guess I would say, in terms of serious relationships, I've been in 2 serious relationships, and both times that was a factor as to why those relationships ended. Not the only factor, but you know, it played a role. And so moving forward, I have made it a priority of mine that any relationship that I enter into from at this point on, I to avoid the issues that I had or like the feelings that I had in my past relationships, I need to make it clear from the beginning how important my spirituality is to me, and so that later on in the relationship, it's not like, oh, how come all of a sudden you want to be all holy and you know, whatever. You know, that's not how the conversation would go. But you know, just so that neither of us, both of us know exactly what to expect going into the relationship, and there's no new parts of me or new, you know, facets to me that are introduced later on into the relationship, and my partner will be like, okay, well, Kristen, he wasn't like that when we first started talking, and, you know, yeah.
Alright guys, thank you for tuning into our God Talk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or mini story times that you would like to share with us, just please do comment down below. You can always DM us. We love to hear from you guys and hear your thoughts. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share with all your friends. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
How you like your eggs?